fuck is a reboot?
A reboot, boys, is when Hollywood wants to make a lot of money without the hassle of creating a new movie. So they take an old movie and change just enough to make you pay for the same shit all over again.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Frame for Frame. This is Cotton Cubes fan and my co-host Tom Garcia, Yumper, and we are talking this time about The Fly, the original from 1958 and the remake from 1986 that we all watched way too young. How's it going, Yumper?
It's going good, man. Totally agree with that second statement about watching that movie way too damn young. I think I saw it when I was like 10.
Yeah. I was 10 when it came out, so I probably saw it like when I was 11 when it came out on video.
Wow.
So,
yeah.
But that, yeah. How are things been going?
Good, man. Good. Very, very busy with work, everything with the podcast, and also the side hustle, the Penguin Imprints, has been keeping me busy.
Yeah. That seems like it's you're doing a lot of stuff with the Penguin Imprints. So
yeah,
a lot of good stuff out there. People need to get out there and buy more, right?
Always, man. But in this economy, hey, if you can buy one, I'd be happy.
Yeah. Well, we just made it past Easter, so I just thought I'd mention the Bleacher Bums Bible book. if you're burned out on regular church, this is the perfect opportunity for you to go out and buy that on Amazon.com. I don't know that anybody's bought one in 2026. So
don't worry. I have a couple people that are actually going to buy some. I gave one of my copies to my friend to look at it, and he fell in love with it. It's like, I'm going to order this. And that was like a couple days ago. So,
oh, that's awesome. Very cool. Thanks for promoting that.
Yeah, I got you, my man.
Sweet. Well, we're going to just jump right into it today. You got Act 1 there for us?
Yes, sir. Let's pull that sucker up right now.
If elected mayor, my first act will be to kill the whole lot of you and burn your turn to cinders. I know it's on.
Oh, and if people wonder why we're moving a little bit slow on this, it's like 9:30 in the morning on a Sunday. We got up early to get this thing together because it's been a little bit since we've done this. But I got nothing better to do on a Sunday morning. I'm happy to be here. This is way more fun than any of the chores that I have on my list. So
I agree. It's either this and then watching the Cubs and Sox lose later on. So,
oh my God. Yeah, that's been brutal. But okay, so this segment, haven't we seen this before? It's coming attractions here. And this is where I talk about recently released remakes and sequels and upcoming things and get Yumper's take on these. So we haven't done this a little bit. So let me start with April 1st, the Super Mario Galaxy movie. Have you seen this, Yumper? You've got a kid about the age for this, like that would fit perfectly for the target demographic here. Have you seen this movie yet?
No, I have not seen it, but my mom did take my son on a movie day to go see this film, and he loved it. She told me it was really good. Me and my wife actually enjoyed the first one that came out. So it doesn't surprise me that this one actually turned out to be very well.
Yeah, I watched the remake of the original, whatever, the most recent one that came out, and I thought that was a very good movie too. I really did enjoy that, and I will watch this. I'm not going to go to the theater for it, so I'm looking forward to it coming out and getting a chance to see it. These are fun, but yeah, it's a sequel of. I mean, would you consider that first Super Mario movie a remake of the one that they came out with? What was that, like the late 90s or early 2000s with John Leguizamo?
Yeah. I would consider it a reboot.
Yeah,
because the original one in the 90s, although I loved it as a kid, it was not very good. And it completely made no sense if you think about the world of Mario. I mean, it had characters in there, but it was just you didn't know what the hell was going on.
Yeah, it was crazy. Wasn't God, who was King Koopa?
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper that was a mess of a movie. I'm like you. I watched it back in the 90s. I didn't hate it. I kind of hate it now, but I didn't hate it then. But I also didn't think it was very good. I love like the Mario video games and stuff. I actually recently just bought a Mario or a Nintendo 64 last fall. And so I'm working my way through Super Mario or Mario 64, whatever they call that, the actual game, but I'm working my way through that. I don't know. I play some modern games. There's something about those old Mario games. It's just, I don't know. It's so much fun. It's like, because you feel, if you feel like you just have to keep doing it and get better, you actually have to build some skills in order to get through the levels. Whereas, I don't know, some of the new games don't really seem like that. It's like you just have one skill and you just have to keep doing that thing to get through or find the secret code or something like that.
Yeah, I kind of get that feeling too. I used to be a big gamer. I kind of dwindled down within the past 3 years because of everything I'm doing. I really don't have time to play games like I used to. I'll play like a baseball game every once in a while, but I really don't play like I used to because I'm usually either chilling with my kid and wife or doing something related to this. But anyway, my son plays a lot of Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild online on the Switch, and he'll come ask me, "Hey, do you know how to get past this part? Like, I can't figure it out." He's like, "Can you look it up?" And I'm like, "Look it up."
Yeah,
I remember when I played like Nintendo, there was no looking it up. I mean, if you had Nintendo Power, but I never had that. You had to figure it out, and it used to piss me off as a kid. I'm like, look, if I couldn't get past something, I had to rent it one weekend and then go back and rent it again if I didn't own it.
Yeah, it was a totally different world in the 90s. I was actually in the Army. My roommate bought the 64, and I remember like we were just blown away with how good the graphics were and how wonderful it was. But yeah, you're right. That Nintendo Power situation, for people who don't know, it was a magazine. Like if you wanted to learn how to beat certain things, you literally had to subscribe to a magazine or go to the store and buy it, and then just hope that something was in there that might help you with the thing that you wanted to do. Yeah. Much easier now with the internet.
Yeah, so much easier. And with the graphics, I think it's hilarious that we're like, oh man, those graphics are great. And when they show it, like it's like that meme, man, these graphics are never gonna get better. It's just a bunch of polygons.
Yeah.
When the Super Nintendo came out, I was like, oh man, this looks great. And then when the 64 came out, I was like, holy crap, this is like awesome. And now it's nothing compared to what we have now, where it's so realistic looking.
Oh yeah, I mean it's almost like real people on the screen. But okay, let's get out of our Nintendo reminiscing. The next movie I have came out on April 10th, Faces of Death. And I think that came out just streaming. I don't think it came out in the theater. But apparently this is it's got to be like a reboot, remake sort of situation, because the original 1978 Faces of Death was supposedly film footage of real deaths caught on camera, and you could rent this at anybody could rent this. Like, it was insane. I remember watching this in the 80s, trying to like see, and it seemed bad. And I'm pretty sure, I haven't seen it for obviously 40 years. I'm pretty sure most of it was just faked. Like, it was all like, it was real things that happened, but the film footage was not real. Did you ever see the Faces of Death, like the original, or like the 12 other sequels that came after?
Yeah, so I did see the original Faces of Death, and it is totally a mockumentary, like before, the Blair Witch Project. So it is fake. Now, in the 90s, I believe there were tapes called Faces of Death that showed real life deaths. I think if you ever watch The Sopranos, Ralph's actually watching one with Janice.
Oh, wow.
But my cousin, I don't know why my cousin, well, he's a weirdo, but he used to rent it from our movie store, like when he's a little older than me, and he would watch them and be like, "Holy shit!" I'm like, "Dude, I did not want to watch this." Like, it's just like, but he was like, "Look at this." I'm like, "No, I do not want to watch any of this." So I'm not really into watching the death scenes unless it's in a movie that I know is fake. But
Right.
I probably will not see the remake because the original wasn't that great of a film in the first place.
Well, so yeah, so back in the 80s, like, I was young and stupid, and we watched it because it's like everybody's like talking about the damn thing. I mean, it came out in 78. We obviously didn't see it until like closer to 1990 or whatever. Whenever, and I remember it just being like, it's not really a movie, it's just kind of garbage. But I'm with you. Anything that is supposed to be real, like death, I'm out. I will do everything in my power to just not see that. Like, I have all the, on my computers and my phones and everything, there is no like autoplay or anything just in case. And the bad thing is, it's not even just like random people who send that stuff. Like, you can see that on a news post, and I'm like, why are you showing this? This is not appropriate in any way.
And the president of the United States posting it,
Yeah. Well, but of course, if the president posts it, we have no idea if it's AI or not.
True.
Yeah. But I guess the Faces of Death movie is actually a movie. It's actually a fiction. It's about a woman who sees all this stuff on the internet. It's like part of her job, which I've heard about these people like that used to work for Facebook or whatever, and their whole job is to just watch everything that's coming through and get rid of it if it's disturbing or something, if it violates the terms. And a lot of these poor people see horrific stuff all the time. Like, it's a terrible job. And so it sounds like maybe she has a kind of like that job, and then she finds these Faces of Death tapes. So it's more of a movie than it is like the old school where they were trying to claim that there was real stuff.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy job.
Yeah.
To go along with like I'm sorry to cut you off, but to go along with like Faces of Death, another movie that came out that caused a lot of like drama and like controversy was a film called Cannibal Holocaust that came out in 1980. And it's about like a trip down to the Amazon rainforest, and there's a lot of stuff with cannibals in there, and it got so real that they actually arrested the director for thinking it was a real film. They had to tell him it was actors because it was so gory. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just not into those type of films. Like, I'm not into, I guess, the hardcore horror. Like, even Terrifier. Like, I'm not really into Terrifier with that kind of gore. It just doesn't do it for me.
No, I'm not either. And I think when I was a kid, like, the gore was like cool. But then, like, as you grow up and you get older, you're like, ooh, like, you have empathy. Like, you've had pain in your life and you're like, I don't want to see this anymore. This is terrible.
Yeah, I just couldn't get into it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, coming up next week, or this weekend coming up, April 17th, Lee Cronin's The Mummy. So there have been 8 million Mummy movies, including, and I haven't seen the Tom Cruise one. I've heard it was terrible. I've seen a number of them. Are you interested in, and it's funny that they call it Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Like that's the title. They want to make sure that we all know it's Lee Cronin. I'm not exactly sure why, but yeah. Are you interested in seeing another version of The Mummy?
No. I'm all for different interpretations of stuff as long as it's not I think this is another franchise that's been kind of beaten to death along with Frankenstein, although there were 2 good Frankensteins that came out this year, but last year anyway. I have no interest in it. And Lee Cronin, he did the Evil Dead Rise, and I was not a big fan of that film. I saw it in theater. So I'll wait for it to come out and then I'll watch it. The only Mummy I'm interested in is the one with Brandon Fraser and Rachel Weisz, which is supposed to be like coming back.
I was just going to get to that. Supposedly 2028, May 2028, they've got a release date for The Mummy, and they're calling it, I believe, The Mummy 4, even though there have been a bunch of mummy movies between the last, or maybe it's The Mummy 3. I don't know, but
I think it'll
the
be
last
4.
Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz version of The Mummy, which even though it was The Mummy, it was really like an Indiana Jones style adventure. Like the main character was not the Mummy. That was just who they were fighting. I remember the first one. I've actually seen it somewhat recently. The first one was fun. That was a fun movie. I haven't seen any of the sequels in 20 some years or something, but yeah, I might check this out. It'll be interesting to see what they do, because obviously these people they're going to be 20 years older than they were when the last Mummy movie that they started came out.
Yeah. Again, The Mummy is like such a generic title because of the Karloff boys. Karloff was the original Mummy, and then they had Lou Chaney Jr. as Karras, another Mummy, different type. But this franchise is, like you said, has like Indiana Jones aspects to it. I think that's what drew me to it as a kid. I saw that one in theater. I loved it then, and then I saw the Scorpion King, the second one, and I was like, "That now talk about bad CGI, Jesus Christ!" The Rock is horrible in there as CGI. And then the third one came out, which Rachel Weisz wasn't even in. It was just Brendan Fraser and John Hannah, the brother. Jonathan Hyde, the brother.
Yeah.
And I just it couldn't get. That was just a bad thing. And then they tried to do it with the Tom Cruise. And that was just bad next.
Yeah. And I mean, if I remember correctly, wasn't the third Mummy movie, wasn't that the one that was trying to set up the Rock coming in as the Mummy?
I think so. The third one had Jet Li in it. It was a Dragon Emperor or something like that. I haven't seen that movie. I only saw that movie like once, and I didn't like it, and I just didn't see it after that.
Yeah, I feel like that one, and maybe I'm wrong. It's, again, been so long, but I feel like that one came out as like a way to set up that they were going to go to actual movies about the Mummy. And then that's the one that starred The Rock as the Scorpion King. And then any number of other wrestlers became the Scorpion King afterwards. Like it was wild. But yeah, I don't think any of those did really well. It'll be interesting to see if they can bring this franchise back a little bit. They tried to do it with that Indiana Jones Quest or Dial of Destiny. And I feel like they failed pretty horribly. I wasn't a big fan of that one.
Yeah, we had for our podcast, we had a film event for that. So
yeah.
But
it's interesting when they try to do this stuff. Maybe just come up with new movies, right?
Yes, new ideas, fresh ideas, man.
Well, I'm about to tell you about fresh ideas that are getting reboots because they weren't fresh. I've heard they're trying to reboot the Spider-Verse. already. So we're talking Morbius, Craven, Madam Web. These are like all the Sony Marvel movies that they've made in the last few years, and they've all been panned. Now, I watched maybe a half hour of Morbius. It was horrific. I have not seen any of Craven, but I didn't want to because it didn't make any sense because that is not the character at all. And then I did watch Madam Web, and I will say that movie got trashed, but it wasn't that bad. Like it was not a good movie, but I was really expecting Morbius levels of bad, but it was a watchable movie.
Yeah, so when it comes to comic book movies, man, I do not listen to any of the reviews unless it's from like a Roper or somebody I know, because like comic book fans are just like Star Wars fans. They trash for the smallest things, and that's not really me being a shot at them. It's just the truth. Like, for example, they hated She-Hulk, and the complaint was
great show.
yeah,
I love
liked
that
it.
show.
I liked that show a lot. And like they're like, oh, she's not serious. And I'm like, have you ever? I never read the comic, but from reading it, she breaks the fourth wall. She's basically another a Deadpool type character.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's not supposed to be taken seriously. But I don't know. So Madam Web wasn't as bad as I thought it was. Morbius was horrible, and I think a lot of that has to do with Jared Leto. I'm not really a big Jared Leto fan. Besides Requiem for a Dream, I just think he's a weirdo. And if you ever see the movie The Small Things, The Little Things with Denzel Washington, that character is basically him in real life. That's what I believe.
Wow. So okay, so you haven't seen Craven either, right?
No, my friend who I trust saw it and it's like, yeah, you might want to skip that one.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
And I may watch it at some point because it's just a movie to watch. But like literally, and I didn't read reviews about it. I heard it was bad, but it was more of when I was watching the trailers, like Craven is the bad guy and he's hunting Spider-Man. Like that's the whole point of the character in the comics, which I do know about. And so when they were like, oh no, we're just going to make him like some kind of a good guy, I was like, yeah, I'll skip this one until I'm just really bored and happen across it sometime.
Yeah, I think it also probably has to do with maybe Sony trying to keep that licensing.
I think so too.
Because they did do Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse were very, very good films, the animated ones, and my kid loves them.
They are
really,
great.
really, really visually nice. And then you coach the collaboration with Marvel Studios for the Spider-Man films that are coming out there. But they're trying to keep that, I think that franchise, just like they did with Fantastic Four when they made that film in like the 90s and just scrapped it right away because they just want to keep the franchise names.
Right. Yeah. It's I'm almost positive you're right that it's just backroom shenanigans to keep the rights to the movies. You're right though, the Spider-Verse movies, the animated ones were amazing. I can't wait for the third one of those to come out. Because I really did like the first two and by Miller and Lloyd. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So good. I'm a little bummed it's taken so long for the third one to come out, but I mean, that's got to be hard to do that kind of animation. There's so much going on.
Oh, yeah.
And the other Spider-Man movies, like I like when Spider-Man shows up in the Marvel movies. Good. The first, like Homecoming, I thought was a really good movie. The one where they're in Europe is fine, but everybody went nuts over that third movie. Thought it was so good. I think that movie is garbage. Like, I think it's just such a bad movie. Like, so that's another one coming out here soon too. I wasn't going to I didn't have that on the list to talk about, but yeah, they're doing Spider-Man 4, I guess. I don't know what they're calling this one.
I think this one is Brand New Day.
Oh, right.
And supposedly the girl from Stranger Things, Sadie, is going to be Gwen Stacy. That's the rumor. And So my son has got into the world of Marvel conspiracy. Nothing bad. Just they go through the Marvel like trailers. It's like these two young kids. And they think, oh, this could be this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of I guess rumor that Miles Morales is gonna be in this film because I guess on the poster, if you look at it when he's hanging upside down, there's two Air Jordans prints. They're on top of the bricks. So they're like that, and they say that maybe Spider-Man might die in this film. So I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Tom Holland, wanting to end it just to get.
Yeah, he's already come out. He's already come out and said that once him and Zendaya have kids, he's done acting. So,
Right.
I mean, he could be wanting to wind it down.
Pretty interesting. Yeah. I mean, yeah, they've got all the money in the world between the two of them. And yeah, if they want to have kids and retire, more power to them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's really all I have for the coming attractions part. So I think it's time to get into these two movie reviews.
Cool. Let's go into Act 2, my friend.
And now for my next number, I'd like to return to the classics.
All right. Do I need to do the slides here? Oh, now we're both doing it.
Go ahead. You can do it. You can handle it.
All right. The Fly from 1958. If you're not watching, if you're listening, this is the movie poster shows Patricia Owen's face screaming, and it says, "Once it was human, even as you and I, the Fly." I don't know. This is a very interesting poster to me. I've never seen this before, but I dig it. It's fun. This is again, late 50s sci-fi horror movie. And I mean, what do you think? I think this is maybe one of the most influential movies, despite it. Not a lot of people have done or tried to do remakes of this.
No, one, it's in 58 and it's in color, which when rewatching it, it still looks pretty good. I don't know if it was digitized. I watched it on Amazon, but it looks very, very good. The colors pop. You could tell certain parts are on a stage because it has the background of the outside.
Yeah.
But
I think the whole thing was on a stage. Like, yeah. I'm trying to I don't know that they went outside for any of it.
Yeah, it's it's still without getting too much into the film before we start talking about it, it still holds up in certain aspects. It's influential. It was like the biggest film for Kurt Newman, who unfortunately I think died that year.
Yeah, and we can actually move on to Kurt here, the director of the movie, Kurt Newman. He directed 68 movies between 1931 and 1958. His final movie came out in 59, posthumously. So, because he did die in 58, but he had a huge, long career. I mean, he was born. I love this. He was born in 1898 in the German Empire, because Germany wasn't even a country the way that we know it now. It was still the German Empire, which was a group of states that were just sort of together. They didn't actually become the country Germany like we know until later. It was pretty interesting. But then he died at 50. Yeah, he died fairly young. But all those movies, I didn't actually know very many of them other than The Fly. That was the one that I knew. So I just threw some out here. I loved that Tarzan and She-Devil was a movie, as well as She-Devil, but those are not connected. She-Devil came out after Tarzan and She-Devil. And it's like a sci, I looked up the thing, and it's like a sci-fi movie, whereas obviously Tarzan and She-Devil is an action adventure sort of thing. And then he also had Rocket Ship XM, which is a sci-fi, and The Ring, which was not the Ring that we all think of. It's a boxing movie.
Which is funny. Yeah, he was kind of like around his 50s movies kind of coincide with the 50s era of the sci-fi horror kind of stuff. The one I saw was Kronos, and that was, I think, in 57, 58. Probably 57 because he died in 58. And that was just basically about an alien that like came back and invaded. It's like a robot alien that came back and like to invade the Earth. Totally 1950s stuff that you see at like 3 a.m. when you have nothing else to watch. That's on Channel 9. So that's one of the films I was introduced to. The others, I know She Devil's about some serum. I saw that maybe one time. But yeah, most of his stuff I have not really gotten into or seen.
Well, you know, and obviously it's a completely different era. 68 movies in less than 30 years is not something anybody does anymore. I mean, that was an era where it was like they were just cranking them, like one director would crank out all these. It was almost like TV, how directors can kind of jump in and they just do a real quick shoot for a couple of weeks and then they bring in a different director or whatever. Because everything was done like on sound stages and stuff. So it was just a completely different era. It makes me wonder how much of Kurt Newman's actual like vision created this movie and how much just came. This was based on a short story, I believe that was published in Playboy in like 1957. And then, by George Langland. And then the screenplay was by James Clavell. But yeah, it just makes you wonder if you're doing 2 or 3 movies directing each year, are you really, guiding that process very much?
I think it's just like shell them out, see how many films you can get out there to, the movie theaters used to be big back then. I mean, up until maybe the past 20 years, they kind of dwindled down a little bit. They're starting to make a resurgence now, I guess, with the film, which the theaters are happy. But back then, that was the thing to do, man. The films, the matinees, the drive-ins.
And there was no TV.
Yeah.
If you wanted to see something like this, you had to go to the theater to see it. So,
and that's where they first had air conditioning in the movie theaters, which on hot summer days, that was like a great marketing tool just to go in there and stay cool and watch a film.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, you know what? That might be coming back because nobody can afford to run their air conditioning anymore. So maybe that's how theaters start to market their stuff. But yeah, anyway, so Kurt Newman, not a lot out there about him other than he just did a crap ton of movies just working for the studio. Let's go on. The cast of this. So there were more than 3 people in this movie, but not a lot more. We had Vincent Price, who known for a movie that we have already done, House on Haunted Hill. And then I decided to throw in, like, he's known for so many. He's the voice of horror, really. Mm-hmm. And we remember him as a kid from Thriller. He did the Thriller video with Michael Jackson. But I didn't realize Alice Cooper, The Nightmare, was like a made-for-TV movie. Have you seen that?
No.
I just found out about it. I'm going to have to go search that out. I had no idea that, like, in the 80s, he worked with Alice Cooper on a made-for-TV horror movie.
Yeah, I've never seen it.
Yeah. But then also Patricia Owens, she had just kind of gotten big on a, what was it? Vacation movie, like Days of Vacation right before this. Mm-hmm. But this really is her main movie that people know her from. And James Clavell, she must really liked his work. And he liked her because she was in a number of his movies for the next few years. But then by like the early 60s, she was kind of out of film other than doing like a lot of TV stuff. But I loved that she had 3 movies come out in the next couple years after The Fly, or right before The Fly and then after. 5 Gates to Hell, Hell to Eternity, and Seven Women from Hell, which you would think, oh, it's a trilogy. It is not. None of these movies have anything to do with each other. She was just, like these people get, I don't know if you would say she's typecast, but she would have been like the Hell girl.
Yeah. That's crazy. Like, I'm looking at her filmography, and they came out like 59, 60, and 61, all movies related to hell.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Again, another actress that I only know from this film. I don't know any other big film that I've seen with her in it. And it's pretty surprising because she has like a Hollywood face, and
yeah.
But I can see why she wasn't cast as often as the other Hollywood bombshells out there.
Yeah, I watched the movie with my wife. She was not impressed with this woman's acting in any way. And I think this movie just did so well. She got a few other opportunities, but then by the early 60s, she was kind of just in general done.
Yeah.
And then the last one is David Hedison. He played the titular character of The Fly. And he's technically the lead of this movie, but half the movie he doesn't speak, and he's got a massive mask. It could have been anybody. So I put him in as the third person, but I was really interested in, he's done a ton of TV, just tons of TV. He's a very, I thought he looked like George Clooney in this movie. He kind of had a Clooney way about him. But I was surprised to see he was in Live and Let Die in like 1973 as Felix Leiter. And then he reprised that role with License to Kill in like 1989, which was the Timothy Dalton version. So he went from, So I don't know how many people have done this. Maybe Tony.
Oh, you cut out. Maybe Tony would know about it. If you watch the Sadistic Penguin Studios YouTube channel, we have a bunch of James Bond films that Tony and our guy Adam are going through, and I believe they talked about David Hedison. He does play a character, Felix Leiter, that has been played by many people, including Jeffrey Wright, I believe, in the most latest film, which was Casino Royale. But yeah, looking at the portrayals here, he has done it twice in 73 and 89, and Jeffrey Wright has done it 3 times in 2006, 2008, and 2021. So that's just a character that's constantly in there. Just some crazy stuff. This is his first lead film that he was given, and like Cotton was saying, he doesn't really speak much. It's mostly physical acting, and you don't know it's really him because he does have for one, the makeup on, and two, the black garment over his head.
All right. I am so sorry to everyone who just saw me doing the cut motions and all the different stuff, because my microphone just straight cut out. I had to reboot everything, come back. I'm sorry, but you did get to hear Yumper talk about David Hedison and his work as Felix Leiter, which was really good. So, and also, what's the James Bond podcast on? Sadistic Penguins.
Shaken Not Stirred.
Shaken Not Stirred. So yeah, check that out. He was also in A-Team and Knight Rider, but he didn't do a lot of films.
No,
it was a lot of TV.
Yeah, a lot of TV, but I do remember him. He was actually in, I think, the Undersea Voyage or something, the Voyage of the Bottomless Sea.
Oh, okay.
That was a television series. And then he did Robin Hood, and I think he did the Lost World too. He was in Lost World, um, the 1960 film, not the Steven Spielberg film.
Yeah. No, it was interesting. I don't know. I really saw him like he seemed like a George Clooney type, like the way he looked and the way he acted, like totally could have seen him doing a ton of films after this, but maybe people just, kind of typecast him. They're like, yeah, you're not going to be any good unless we stick a big fly head on you.
I would say, to be honest with you, in this film, he's probably the best actor in this film.
Probably. Yes.
Mhm.
The least amount of lines, best acting, because he had to like really work to portray what was going on with him without saying anything,
Mhm.
Had to have been a tough role for him. All right. So the budget on this was around 500,000. It's estimated. They didn't keep great track of that stuff. And it made $3 to $4 million, which is a big movie back then. The ratings, it has a 7.1 on IMDb, a 95% on the tomato meter, 71% on popcorn-o-meter, which is the fans version, of the rating system on tomato meter, and a 62 on Metacritic. I was kind of surprised by these ratings a little bit. The 7.1, 71%, 62, that all makes sense. 95% on the tomato meters was surprising to me. What about you?
To me, it really wasn't that surprising because watching it back, it wasn't that bad of a film to watch back. And it was like an innovator for its time with a lot of the stuff that was going on. Of course, and then also being in color, it's probably one of the better color films that come out in the early days. So that didn't really surprise me. Then it got to the point that actually, when I was watching it, I watched this film yesterday, because I watched the original, the remake, and I watched this one yesterday just to go through it again. And my mom had come home from work and she sat down to watch. She's like, "Oh, we're watching a 1960s film," and I'm like, she's like, "Oh, I remember this," and I'm like, oh, "Okay."
Yeah.
So she was into it.
Yeah, no, it is a well done movie, perfectly enjoyable to watch. I had never seen it prior to watching it this week. Of course, I'd heard about it. Everybody knows the "help me," sort of thing. I mean, The Simpsons did it, so it's like, that's going to be in everybody's language if The Simpsons did it. Everybody kind of knew about that one, but yeah. So it was interesting. I enjoyed it, even if it wasn't like the greatest movie. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, 1986, The Fly. And we got the movie poster here. It says, "Be afraid. Be very afraid," which is kind of interesting for a movie poster for the movie that we got. I don't know how afraid we should be. It's such a closed set. Like there's like maybe 2 or 3 sets that they use. It almost all takes place within his laboratory. Like The Fly is all the horror and danger of it is just kind of what Goldblum as the Fly tells you it is, I don't know.
No, yeah, it's totally get what you're saying.
Yeah. The poster is great. It has the picture of the pod that's on it. These pods always kind of reminded me of a little bit of the cocoon things from both Aliens, I guess, and Gremlins. Like those were obviously, those were made to be organic. This is not, but it always gave me the same sort of feel for it. It's kind of like a football on its end sort of shape.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like a honeycomb
Yeah.
kind of look. I did find it hilarious that when Gina Davis first sees them, she's like, "Oh, telephone boots." And I'm like, how the hell did you get the telephone boots look like that in the 80s? Like, I never seen one like that.
Yeah, no, nobody has ever seen one like that. I don't know. I guess maybe she thought it was the idea was just that he was trying to improve upon
Yeah,
the telephone booth. I have no idea.
but
technically he was.
yeah, technically no. But the line "Be afraid, be very afraid" is actually from Mel Brooks, which is pretty crazy. The comedic actor and director.
That is interesting too that you say that, because I didn't know that prior to looking this stuff up. That, and it says right there on the poster, Brooks Films. He's one of the producers of this movie, and I couldn't think of a less Mel Brooks movie than The Fly.
Yeah, totally not a Mel Brooks film.
Yeah.
But something that was, again, the first for its time in terms of direction and whatnot. It had a lot of background in terms of background allegories that people thought it was meant to be, that the director came out and said, "Oh, no, I meant this, but hey, you can bring up your own interpretation of it," which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah. Well, the director, since you brought him up, David Cronenberg, known for Scanners, The Dead Zone, Dead Ringers, Naked Lunch. He's directed 49 different films. He's written in the 20s and 30s. And he's currently 83 years old, but he's still directing. He just directed a movie called The Shrouds in 2024. What do you know about David Cronenberg here?
Oh my goodness. So if you guys follow any of the stuff I do for 31 Days of Horror, whenever I refer to David Cronenberg, I always throw the effing Cronenberg in there. The man is a horror icon in terms of film. Totally wacky stuff that's out there. Videodrome, a movie with James Woods that me and Tony covered. Scanners, of course. You have Nightbreed, where he plays a serial killer, psychiatrist. Just an all-out, like really, really master of film, and like he has a certain style that draws you to him. Even his his own look. He has a look that's like you have to look twice at him. I love David Cronenberg. I think he's very influential in a lot of stuff he does. Naked Lunch, dude. Have you ever seen that film?
I watched it one time in college because I took a class about the beat writers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I had to try to read that book and then try to watch the movie. And I can tell you, I don't really remember either one because it's a mess. It's so hard to follow this stuff. But wasn't the Talking Heads lead singer David Byrne in that movie?
I don't know if David Byrne was in it. I can look.
Yeah, for some reason I'm thinking David Byrne was the
I don't see David Byrne. Judy Davis, Ian Holm, Julian Sands, Roy Schneider. I don't see David Byrne in there.
Maybe I'm thinking this. Maybe it just looks like it from the poster.
But just the factor with the bugs, like the bugs he talks to, because he's like huffing like pesticide. It's got RoboCop in it too, Peter Weller. That film is just on top of it makes you like, what the hell am I watching? But that's just David Cronenberg. And then he goes on to do films like History of Violence, which was nominated for Oscars. He's very, very talented.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and the movie is based on the book Naked Lunch by William S. Burroughs. And as crazy as the movie is, it's amazing that anybody had just the courage to try and make this movie make a movie out of this book. It's a novel from 1959, but when I say novel, I mean that's very loose with what Burroughs was doing. He was basically trying to deconstruct the idea of novels when he wrote it.
Yeah. Basically, his own interpretation of it.
Yeah. So imagine then, Cronenberg, the balls on this guy to be like, this is one of the most insane books, no linear anything. It's all over the place. I'm going to try and make a movie out of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
pretty impressive. But
Mhm.
all right, the cast, we have, of course, Jeff Goldblum. We all know him and love him from Jurassic Park, Thor Ragnarok. He was in the Wicked movie. He was the Wizard of Oz in the last two Wicked movies, right? And then and then I threw in Transylvania 65000 and Earth Girls Are Easy from the 80s. And I did that because Gina Davis was also in those movies. They did these three movies together and ended up getting married. And they were married for like 5 years before they divorced.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting. Like, and they had actually met prior to The Fly, but yeah, it was interesting that they did all these movies together.
I noticed that we talk about typecast. Jeff Goldblum, I like Jeff Goldblum, but he kind of plays the same character in all his roles.
He,
Like the eccentric guy.
yeah, he is kind of, Jeff Goldblum is kind of just Jeff Goldblum in most things. We also saw him in when we did Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Mhm.
He was in that. He was a little more mellow in that movie, not quite as crazy. But yeah, it's almost like people just got to a point where his mannerisms and stuff became so interesting that I think directors were just looking for that.
The Goldblum, yeah.
Yeah, and wanting him to do that. This one is still earlier in his career, so he's not quite as eccentric, but you can see it kind of coming out. I will say, pretty impressive mannerisms for The Fly when he becomes The Fly.
He did an excellent job. And you know, looking at this, Michael Keaton was offered this role, and other actors were offered, but they didn't want to go under the knife for the makeup because they didn't want to deal with that. And Goldblum just like, oh, I'll do it, and he was perfect casting. Another film that he does really well in, where he kind of doesn't do the Jeff Goldblum awkward dude, is Deep Cover. I don't know if you ever seen that film with Lawrence Fishburne.
No,
Where,
I haven't.
It's a very, very good film. Very, very good album too. If you like hip hop, he's basically a Fishburne is actually an undercover cop, and he gets like Goldblum's connected to like kind of like a underground organized crime, and he kind of like it's kind of spiraling out, and Fishburne's like his right hand man. So it's actually a really, really good film. I think it's like got like a 7 out of 10 on IMDb, but check that one out if you get a chance.
Yeah, I will have to try that one out. Gina Davis plays the female lead in this, and we all know her from one of the best, in my opinion, baseball movies ever made, A League of Their Own, Thelma and Louise, Beetlejuice, and then her most recent movie was Blink Twice, which I have not yet seen, but that's one that I keep seeing on like Amazon Prime. And I keep thinking like, ooh, that looks interesting. I want to watch it. But I just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah. So Gina Davis, for one, like Hollywood Scarlet, great actress, Oscar winner. I know her from Beetlejuice is probably the first movie I've ever seen her in. And then of course, yes, I'm totally agree with you in terms of League of Their Own, revolutionary in terms of movies about baseball, film that portrays women in baseball, which I thought was awesome. She kind of like after like A League of Their Own, she did that film Angie and then Stuart Little, and then kind of like her career kind of went down a little bit.
Yeah.
So I don't really know anything she's done. Like I know she was in Blink Twice, which I guess got some good reviews, but I don't know anything that she's done that stood out to me that made me want to go see it in a while.
Well, she's obviously she's a bit older now. I mean, she's 70 years old. She looks amazing for 70, by the way, but she was also married to a plastic surgeon for 20 years. So might have something to do with it. But yeah, I don't know. She was in Quick Change. She was in a couple of these movies. But then, she just had different interests too. So like when she started maybe getting to a point where Hollywood didn't think she was the super sexy woman, because this movie, she was cast as the sexy woman. I mean, Earth Girls Are Easy, Transylvania 65000. She was like supposed to be the sexy woman. So as she got a little bit older and, maybe Hollywood had a little less time for her, she started doing other things. Most interesting to me, she competed to try and be on the 2000 Olympic archery team. She had never done it before, but then in like 1997, she like started shooting, and I guess she was pretty good, and she just dedicated her life to it for a couple of years and ended up as an alternate for the 2000 Olympics. They took like the top 20, like you had to be in the top 20, and she was like number 24. So had a few of the, archers fallen out, she could have ended up on the Olympic team.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me though, because she's a member of Mensa too.
Yeah.
So I think you have to have an IQ over 140 to be a member of Mensa. And if you can tell, a lot of eccentric people are there. James Woods a member of Mensa, so that tells you one thing.
But she also had a Gina Davis show on TV that she tried to get going. She has an organization in Hollywood, what is that one? I believe it has to do with, God, where is it? Sorry, but yeah, she has an organization, the Gina Davis Institute on Gender in Media. And again, this I'm sure goes back to her experience as a woman in Hollywood, and like you said, she's like brilliant. She's in Mensa, and so she was doing a lot of stuff outside of doing movies. So pretty impressive woman. And then we end with John Getz. Now, he's known for The Fly 2, the only member of this trio from this movie that was in the sequel. And what's interesting is he plays basically the same role as Vincent Price does. Obviously, much different, but Vincent Price was the only one of those three to come back in The Return of the Fly. So kind of interesting how those two things sort of paralleled. He was also in Born on the 4th of July, Blood Simple, and Don't Tell Mom the Babysitter's Dead. That's the one that I kind of remembered him from. Like, I don't know. That's not like a classic movie, but it was fun when I was a kid.
Oh, I love that film.
Yeah.
The dishes are done, man. Actually, we almost got him to come on our show. Keith Coogan.
Wow.
He was interested. And this is when I had the other the other podcast host.
So not John Getz.
No, Keith Coogan. Kenny.
Okay.
But he was willing to come on. I was like excited because Keith Coogan's grandfather was Jackie Coogan, the Addams Family.
Wow. I didn't know.
But that's another tangent. But John Getz. Yeah, he's got one of those faces where you see he's in a lot of stuff and you're like, oh, I remember that guy. And he's really good at playing asshole kind of characters. In this film, he plays a weirdo. Like some of the stuff he says is just I don't know if he's just doing it to get a rise out of her, but it's just like, what the fuck? But then again, it's a Cronenberg film, so it makes sense.
It's a Cronenberg film, and it's the 1980s toxic boyfriend sort of trope in film, and he played it to a T. Which let's move on. Box office ratings, 15 million budget was estimated. It made 60,600,000 worldwide, which that's a pretty good return, and I would guess it made way more than that, even with all of your VHS, DVD, all that stuff. This is a movie that continues to be watched. Got a 7.6 on IMDb, which I thought was a little low. 94% on the tomato meter, 83% on the popcorn meter, and then 81 on Metacritic.
Yeah, surprisingly, a little low for IMDb, but I mean, again, you got to take those ratings with a grain of salt because people can spam them. I mean, look
Yeah.
at the Melania rating for
Yeah.
tomato meter.
Exactly. Well, and that's why we look, the tomato meter part is supposed to be actual critics, and the popcorn meter is supposed to be more of the just general people. 83% is pretty high on that. And I will say, I talked to my family about watching this movie, which I showed it to them maybe 3 years ago for the first time. None of them had seen it. So like 3 or 4 years ago, we watched it. And of course, I loved it. And when I asked anybody if they wanted to watch it again, all of them were like, no, it was disgusting. And I thought that was really funny. I was like, oh, wow. Like, I guess I wasn't really thinking about that. And then I watched it this time with that sort of in my head. And it is a pretty disgusting movie. I was surprised. I hadn't really thought about that aspect of it as much as they had.
Yeah, definitely it's got a lot of parts in it that are like, what the fuck am I watching?
Yeah. All right. So let's jump into the cast/character clash. And this is a good one because even though they all have different character names, it's very obviously a one-to-one from the 1958 movie to the 1986 movie of who these characters are within these two movies. I mean, so first off, we have Jeff Goldblum as Seth Brundle going up against David Hedlison as Andre Delambre, the brilliant French scientist in Montreal.
Oh my God. That's another thing too. Like, I know you mentioned this on Sun Ranto the other day, but when I was rewatching it, I totally forgot until you mentioned that. And then I watched it again and I'm like, they're in like Montreal or Canada. And
the whole thing is set in Montreal. Yeah.
And like, the main characters don't speak a lick of French. Their kid's name is Philippe and he sounds American, which to me is like, and I was talking with Jenny because she was watching it a little bit and she's like, well, maybe, they talk to them in their English. I'm like, that doesn't matter. Well, you guys still got to go to school and you still talk it and you'll learn to pick up that accent no matter if your parents speak English.
Yeah, it is insane. All of the three main characters are Delambres. They are all French from Montreal. The supporting cast, everyone you see outside of these main, and I don't know about the kid, like that was kind of iffy, like whether or not the kid was actually like like speaking English just well, or who knows. Kid actors are a little bit tougher, but everyone else was French. Like they were all actual French. They spoke in French accents. You could tell that they were French characters. And then you just had the three core actors, no French at all. Like it was hilarious. And they're like calling each other Francois and Andre. And they're saying it less of an accent than what I just used.
This is kind of like off tough topic, but have you ever seen Project Runway?
A long time ago, yes.
Okay,
we used to watch that.
The first season, I watched the first season like way back. I didn't watch it after that, but the first season I watched, no, the second season. And there's a character named Andre in there, and Tim Gunn would look for him and be like, Andre, where's Andre? So every time I heard them say Andre, that just popped into my head of Tim Gunn saying his name. Andre, where's Andre?
That's hilarious. Well, and Tim Gunn is like super English, and so it makes total sense.
Yeah, that's why it cracked me up. I was like, oh man.
So all right. Well, we got, and then Jeff Goldblum they're both scientists in this. Jeff Goldblum had a chance to really act with amazing, with the amazing like prosthetics and stuff that he was able to use. David Hedlison I think he probably had to work he would have had to work a little harder, but Goldblum absolutely just made that thing so good. But the fact that Hedlison couldn't talk, couldn't show his face, all that stuff. He had to do these things. It was pretty impressive, like acting chops. But I got to go with Goldblum here. Like the Seth Brundle character, I thought was just a better version of the character. I think both the actors did great with what they had, but I'm going Goldblum here.
Yeah, so this one's kind of a toss up for me because I did not like the Seth Human Brundle character.
Okay. I can see that. Yeah.
But I thought David Heddleston, his character was kind of dry as well. I thought he did a very good job with as the Fly, as being a character who can't talk. His visual and mannerisms, that's how he portrayed to the audience, and it was very, very good. But in terms of with all those prosthetics and just the way he acted after, I do have to give it to Goldblum, give him the slight edge. But Heddleston did a very, very good job. So it's not like one was so much better than the other. It's just that Goldblum had a lot more to work with in having a speaking role while Heddleston didn't.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I think we're on the same page here. Like both performances were great. It was really somewhat limited just by the time. And I have to say, Newman versus Cronenberg, the directing of this. Now, like we were saying before, Newman probably didn't get a lot of creative direction, but I have to imagine if he had seen this movie, the 86 version, that's exactly what he would have wanted to do. You could feel the actual, the DNA in the Cronenberg movie of that original movie. It's just that Newman didn't, he probably had way less time to shoot it. He didn't have the props, all the different stuff that he had to deal with. He did an amazing job, but he was ahead of his time, really. I think if he had been able to do everything that it seemed like he wanted to do, he would have made that 1986 movie.
Yeah, and the thing is, when Cronenberg did this film, Goldblum actually wrote a letter to Vincent Price saying how much he enjoyed the original, and said, "I hope you, enjoy mine as much as I enjoyed yours." And it touched like Vincent Price to the point where he actually appeared at the premiere. He went to the film and he wrote, he loved the film, but said, "Oh, you guys took it a little too far." But he enjoyed it, and it really, meant a lot for him to have a modern star reach out to him and acknowledge him, which he really, really loved. And I think Cronenberg kind of shows that in the film. He plays tribute and then does his own spin on things that we'll probably get to when we go through it.
Yeah. Okay, next character, Gina Davis as the horrifically named Veronica Quaife. What is that? I don't even know what's going on. And then Patricia Owens as Helene Delambre. And I think I just did a
Spanish name?
A Spanish accent. Because I just cannot keep that stuff straight. Now, one thing that was interesting difference between these two movies is that obviously in the 58 version, they were all family, right? It was David Heddleston, Andre married to Helene, and Vincent Price as the brother-in-law, brother/brother-in-law. So they had a much stronger connection there than, like the Gina Davis being this reporter who literally just meets Seth Brundle right then, like at the beginning of the movie. Go ahead.
Yeah, it seems like the original kind of had like a little buildup, and this one kind of right away they're meeting each other. Even though they're already married in the original, it's like more of a character development, I guess, in the original, because then again, it is going back. It's basically a flashback film. This one, the only reason I would give this to Gina Davis is because she's a good actress. And Patricia Owens is really bad.
See, I think I'm going to go the other way on this. Patricia Owens' acting was like way over the top, right? But her like chasing those flies earlier, before you know why she's trying to chase these flies, I was really kind of interested in that. And I thought, I mean, there's a lot of things that she didn't do great, but the character itself, I felt like was a more well thought out character by the writers, not necessarily by the actors. The character of Helene Delambre I liked better than Veronica. And Gina Davis, obviously, she's a better actress, and she just looked better with what she had to work with. I think that she didn't have quite as good a script to work with as Patricia Owens did. And I feel like just it barely edges out Gina Davis, but that's more on the writing than the acting part of it. Like, I like the character better, even though I didn't like the actress as well. I think, honestly, if Gina Davis could have had the Helen Delambre role, I think it would have been an amazing part for her.
I can see that. I think the way I judge it more is the way they're interacting in terms of when things got tense, and I think Davis has played the character a little bit better when she was, terrified of what was going on. While Patricia Owens tried her best, her scream was but it's, of course, it's the 1950s, so I can't really hate on her for it. But just that part, just like, oh my goodness. And I don't know. I thought both writing parts for them were bad, which is kind of disappointing. But I can see if by you saying that she was going after the fly and stuff. But I'm still going to stick with Davis because I think the better actor should win this.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't think you're wrong. Like, again, these characters were very close. The characters and the actors were like, I think the 86, those actors, all of them were just better actors across the board. But the writing and the characters were better across the board, sort of in the 58 version, like who they were and what their connection to each other was more believable and felt stronger to me. But, but that's why, like, I don't know. I like Jeff Goldblum a little bit better than David Hedlison. I liked Patricia Owens just a little bit better than Gina Davis, but it's all subjective, right? Like, we're just sort of like, which one, it's insane to try and figure out which one is better when they're 30 years apart and doing completely different, having different tasks to handle in these movies. Okay, let's move to the last one. We get John Getz as, again, another terrible name, Stathis Borans. I don't know what even nationality that might be or what it might be. Stathis Borans is an insane name.
It's just Cronenberg and the lead character in Nightbreed, although it was written by Clive Barker, his name is Boone. So
yeah. Well, it's amazing that Seth Brundle is the most like generic name that he uses in this movie. But yeah, so John Getz goes up against Vincent Price, Francois Delambre. And so yeah, what do you think about these two?
This one's kind of tough because they're both playing different characters. Getz is playing the ex-boyfriend publisher that it's kind of slimy in kind of ways, and then he's genuinely affectionate. He's a creep to me. And Vincent Price plays the brother who, is in love with Patricia Owens' character, but he knows she loved his brother, and that's just something but he still loves the family. He plays like a good guy that's tormented trying to get her off murder charges. So it's kind of different characters, but in this sense, I gotta go with Price because I just think he had a little bit more to work with instead of doing the stereotypical ex-boyfriend kind of stuff. Also, Getz his dialogue was just Like when he told her, "If you die, can I claim the body?" I'm like, what the like? Who the fuck says shit like that? Like,
Oh yeah, it was horrific.
so I would just go with Price on this one.
Yeah. This is a tough one because Vincent Price is very generic in this movie. I think the best acting he does is when he's with the detective and they're talking to Patricia Owens' character and he's not talking. He's like standing there and he's doing face acting. That was the best part of the movie from Vincent Price for me.
Yeah, his mannerisms are so great. Even when he's sitting on top of the bench and he's just talking to himself, like because he's freaking out because it's almost time for them to come get her. He hasn't found this fly they're looking for, and he's like throwing shit while he's sitting there, and he's like just basically rambling to himself. I thought he did a very good job doing it. And don't get me wrong, Vincent Price is more known for the aesthetic. He's not the greatest actor, but he's more known for the voice and the aesthetic of the appearance of himself for being in the film.
I will say that kind of threw me off a little bit too, is that he's basically the main male character, but he's not he's not the scientist. He's not the scary guy. He's not really any of that. He's like you said, he's genuinely seems affectionate and supportive and is just trying to get through it. He didn't have a lot to work with. I don't know. I actually, I think you're right. I think Vincent Price probably wins because John Getz was just, again, you talked about how Jeff Goldblum just gets sort of typecast as things. John Getz is that guy as well. They just want him to be the jerk, and he does it. And his role, his character, like, why was he even still a part of her life? You know what I mean? Like, he's the ex-boyfriend and he's stalking her. He's letting himself into her apartment. And she is stuck sort of with him because she works with the guy. Like, he's her boss. And then I don't know. And this, we'll get into this more in a plot point. I don't like the way that his character was created and in the arc of the character either. I didn't like, so yeah, now, I mean, maybe reconsidering this. Yeah, I think I got to go with Vincent Price. Is just like, it's hard. It's a better, I just like that character better. I think Vincent Price's character is probably more important to the 58 movie than John Guess's character is to the 86 movie. I think we could probably just get rid of that John Getz character or just pare it way back, or just, he could be a voice on a phone when she's talking to her editor. Like, we didn't really need that guy at all, other than to be there for the horrific like gore later in the movie. So yeah, I think I'm going to go with you. I got to go with Vincent Price on this. So looks like we are 2-1 with different characters for the 58 version.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on. Plot point punch out. We're going to talk about these movies a little bit more here. We're going to talk about obvious plot holes if they are, better character development, best scenes, worst scenes. What was the movie trying to say? Do you want to get going on this one, Yumper?
Yeah. So for the 1958 version, it basically opens with a murder, which I thought was pretty crazy with the bunch of blood they showed for it in the 1958 film.
It was pretty gross.
Body in a press. And it's basically a woman saying that she killed her husband. The police are interviewing her, which to me was kind of strange because she was there for murder and they didn't throw her in jail. They had her stay at her house. But
it's Montreal. Like, they're French Canadian. It's all much.
They're only good with making love with their faces, like they said in Last of the Mohicans, the French. But yeah, it's basically going from there, and then it goes into a flashback of where she explains why she did what she did to Vincent Price, as she's looking for this fly with a white head that they keep calling tribute to, and then it introduces her husband, and then they go into his experimental job of trying to create a teleporter, which I thought the FX for this was great with the bright lights. Also the having stuff teleport, which is basically putting a copy of it in the opposite room.
Yeah.
So because you never see the other room, it doesn't actually show the transfer back and forth. It just shows like one thing to the next room.
They do that in the 86 as well, though.
Yeah, with the smoke
In the pod. Yeah, you can't see in there. So yeah.
But you know, the obvious plot holes for this one, I think, are just. I think, to be honest with you, they covered a lot of stuff in the script that answered a lot of questions. Like, what was his main job? Well, they own a company. Him and his brother, Price, and his brother own a company. Andre. They basically create stuff for scientific things. Andre's a scientist, and it seemed like Vincent Price's character was more the business side. He wasn't the genius like his brother, but they had a very, very healthy relationship. So it covered that aspect of it. One of the things that I didn't understand was that fly, although it was in his house, how did it keep coming back to the house when it was outside? Like, I don't think I've ever seen the same fly come back to my house. They usually just go where they gotta go.
Well, I mean, because the fly had a human head on it. We have to now as the man that had the fly head was slowly becoming more consumed with the fly stuff. The fly with the human head, you have to assume, is doing the same, and so is starting to gain more knowledge and maybe keeps trying to come back to the house. That was my guess. That's how I rationalized
That's good interpretation, but I was just like, why the hell is and the fact that she makes her poor kid look for this fly.
No idea why he's looking for the fly either. Like, doesn't say it's daddy.
Yeah. Which I thought was just kind of a weird thing. Just the whole investigation. And then how it wraps up at the end with, oh, well, you can say, I forgot to do this. And you can say, and like, dude, there was other people around you. Like when you were interviewed by the police, like just because he's the chief inspector doesn't mean he's going to be able to throw it all out.
Right.
And I also thought it was hilarious how he smashed the fly with the rock. How he just like, fuck this, and just smashed them. Like, Jesus Christ. And this so Price's line of, you killed a man with a fly with a human head. You created murder. You did murder.
That little speech by Vincent Price at the end there to sort of talk him into not pressing charges against Helene was something else. So for me, the biggest plot hole, like if I'm thinking about it, is just that the fly and the man were mixed together, right? And I say this because he put like a plate in there and it got transported and it just became back as the plate. But then he put other things in, and those other things were not getting joined. Like they did not, when he would transport like a plate with with something sitting on it, it wouldn't then become like fused together. So it kind of made me wonder, like, well, then it should have not fused the fly and the man together, right? But also, as a scientist, he was terrible as a scientist. He calls his wife down to see this thing, and it's not ready. She notices that it flips the Japan written on the bottom of the plate. She noticed that. He didn't have any idea. And so then he has to go to work and try and fix it again. And then before he brings her back, he's just like, let me put the cat in there. Like that was the most like insane thing. This kid loves his cat and he's like, I'm just going to throw the cat in and see what happens. And the cat disappears.
And you can still hear it meowing.
Does not come back. And yet you can hear it meowing. Somehow the atomized cat can still meow, but then we never hear it again. Like it disappears. Now, what gets me with that, and Emily and I watched this movie together, when they're talking about the fly with the white head and the white leg, Emily was like, "Oh, that's the cat." The fly and the cat got mixed. And I was like, "Oh yeah, that makes sense." So I went through like half of this movie thinking that this fly that they're chasing is actually part cat and part fly. And I'm wondering when the man fly is going to show up, the actual fly part. It was, yeah. So I got a little bit confused by that. I felt like that was that plot hole was
great.
Rough. The character development, there wasn't much in this. Literally, it was all Helene, I think. She's the one that I think we learned the most about and how she was dealing with stuff. Vincent Price, you didn't hear much about. The idea that he was in love with her really only came out in the sense that I think the detective asked him about it.
No, it was. I think it was a doctor. A doctor asked.
Or
him.
a doctor asked. Yeah, but otherwise, we wouldn't really have known that. And then I thought the David Hedlison as Andre, like becoming the fly, I thought he did a really good job, but he was insanely bad at his job and just continued to be insanely bad at his job. Like he just kept doing. There wasn't really much character development there at all. And then I would have to say, I mean, the best scene is clearly the fly with the human head getting eaten by the spider is amazing. And I totally understand. When I was looking things up about this, like people were like, that messed me up as a kid. Like people talked about this scene. They're still talking about this scene. And despite it not being gory or it is disturbing. And the fact that those two men are just standing there watching and they do not help.
Well,
and
he
like
helps
you said,
after he gets bit.
Yeah.
After he's bit by a spider, he's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah. I was waiting for the whole movie for this thing. I didn't understand like where it was coming. And then earlier, right before that happens, like you said, Vincent Price is out there talking to himself and working through this. You hear the fly saying, "Help me," but he doesn't. And I was like, was that the scene? Was that it?
Yeah, I thought that. I hadn't seen this movie in a long time, so that's why I rewatched it again yesterday. I thought the same thing, and then I realized, the church bells is what kind of set him off, because it was time for them to come get her.
Yeah,
and that's when he started freaking out. The church, but that's when he started talking to himself. So that's why he didn't hear. But yeah, the fly screaming, "Help me, help me!" But my thing is too, like, didn't Philippe, the kid, hear him talk too? He had to hear him talk if he saw him on the web.
I don't know. It almost makes me feel like nobody could actually hear him, right? Even though as the audience we could hear him. I don't know, because if Vincent Price could hear his brother saying, "Help me," why would he not have, I don't know, gotten rid of the spider, like tried to help? But if you think that if the idea is that he's looking at this and he's just hearing like sort of buzzing or whatever, or like he can't actually make out what the guy's saying, he's just looking at this like really creepy fly and he maybe doesn't realize it is his brother. It just feels like it's a fly with this brother's face on it. And
the thing too that stuck out to me now that you mentioned it is the maid. Remember, she told Vincent Price's character she saw the fly and it just looked like a normal horse fly. And I'm like, yeah. No, it does not look like a normal horse fly. It had a white fucking head on it, like, and a white leg. Yeah, because apparently that white leg still had the lab coat. Yeah, that's the one part of the plot holes I didn't understand either. It was, how come it only transferred his head and his arm? Yeah, and was he like doing this? See, and that's the thing. It's like that I was talking about with Newman versus Cronenberg in this. Newman was doing the best he could with this,
And I thought he did a great job. The fact that they hid that arm and then it popped out is sort of a 1950s jump scare was amazing. When they revealed the head, that was amazing. And then he kept hiding that hand, but we just get glimpses. I feel like that was just like, that's the best he could do. So it's like, it is kind of a weird plot hole, but he couldn't really do anything else with it. And so it had to be performed by the actor as that. It was great. I don't know. It was great when you understand and recognize like he was doing the best he could with it. That's why I think if he could have done what Cronenberg did, I feel like Newman totally would have done that.
Yeah, I think he would have as well.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then what was this movie trying to say? Did you have an idea of that? I mean, other than the very obvious sort of like, don't mess with nature.
I think that was the whole thing is sometimes things are not meant to be explored.
Like anti-science. It was kind of it was a little bit of an anti-science type of movie.
I think it was more don't play God, because remember she tells him like you're acting
yeah.
But it was kind of like but I don't think Andre was a bad person until he put the cat in the damn thing. Then I was like, what the hell are you doing? But I think he genuinely thought the cat was just going to be normal, because he's like, you're going to be famous tomorrow. You won't feel a thing.
Right. Which is why he's so bad at his job. Like he's just like, yeah, this is going to work.
Yeah.
And then when it didn't work, he was like,
oh shit,
oops.
And then he didn't even tell his kid. Like his kid, that's another part too that made me laugh, was the maid grabbing the kid down the stairs. You're gonna eat your food, and I'm like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
But that was the 50s, man.
Yeah. No. That was wild. You had just said something, and it made me think of something, and then I got lost in the cat and the kid. That was just insane. So the thing that you said about like, don't play God, right? That's interesting, because it is saying that like, don't play God, don't do this thing. But in the end, he kills himself and she helps with that. That is, in a way, when you take life, is kind of like playing God as well. So
yeah,
a little bit of an interesting
and he didn't want his experiment to get out, which that was like the good part of him not wanting it to the character from the two characters of The Fly are totally different. And this one, he's trying to prevent himself from becoming, he can't control himself, so he wants to get rid of himself so it never happens to anybody else. While the Jeff Goldblum character basically is becoming obsessed. First he's scared, and he becomes obsessed with becoming human again.
Yeah.
So two different types of character arcs there. If you want to go over the 86
let's jump into it. I mean, plot holes for the 86. I think for the most part, they did it was such a very straightforward movie. So the 58, it took a good 5, 6, 7, 10 minutes to get into what the story was going to be. Right. Whereas in the 86, like 5 minutes in, we're already there at his lab. He's talking to Gina Davis, and they're going to, transport something. And so that was interesting, like just how quickly they got to it. But then he was doing, let's see, the biggest plot hole I felt like for the whole movie was that Gina Davis was a reporter and immediately fell in love with her subject. Like, this is not how reporters work at all. I mean, from the moment he's like, let's transport something. And what does she give him? Her stocking, not the shoe that she could have given him. She takes off her shoe so that she can then sexily take this stocking off and give that to him. And I was just like, oh, I mean, come on, this is a little a little much here.
And then Jeff Goldblum, okay, yeah.
Yeah. So that for me, like the idea in the original that they were all related, put them all in there. You don't even have to worry about their relationships. The relationships in the 86 movie, none of them made sense. I mean, Gina Davis is the reporter. She would not have jumped into bed with Seth Brundle that quickly. And her toxic boss / boyfriend would not be a part of this either. You know, like she wouldn't be bringing him in on this in any way. I don't know. That for me, that's the big plot hole.
That is a very good explanation of it. I think one of the big plot holes that stuck out to me was Goldblum's character. Where was he getting funded from? He also said, I just tell them build this and they build that there. I don't know if he was being facetious during that conversation. But they never say like where he gets the funding for or who's he dealing with in terms of like, did he mention it in passing? I did appreciate in the original how they say that they own their own company. They got more money than they could ever spend, is what Vincent Price is quoted as saying. And he just does it because he loves science. That's why he loves to, his brother loves to do that. While Brundle is kind of like a phenom, like a person that's did so many things when he was young and now he's doing this.
Yeah, he kind of mentions that he's just privately funded by some like corporation, because remember he says, I'm not I don't cost a lot, you know, like I do it all fairly cheaply. And he's like, and the company is going to own whatever I do. Like he says, they're just going to, like, I won't own this. It's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
It seems weird that's how he was way too nonchalant about that. Like the fact that he's like, oh, I'm just doing this so that somebody else can take this and move on with it. I don't care about it. Like that was weird. And they don't really go into, it's pretty shady on how they say, like who is funding him, but he does just kind of say, people fund me and it's cheap. And then later the boyfriend is looking into him and finds out that he was like some phenom on some other thing. So it's kind of hard to piece together what his backstory is. It's sort of there, but it wasn't done well.
I didn't like that aspect of it because I would like to know more about him. I know the focus of the film was The Fly, but I would like to know a little bit more. Just another thing about that I didn't like about this film was when she goes to see him when he's, you know, with the canes, he's walking around and he's just like his first transformation and he like throws up and his ear falls off.
Yes.
She like hugs him.
Yeah.
Like in your damn mind, who the hell, like, I don't care how much you love, you're not going to hug somebody after they fucking ear falls off and they're throwing up on themselves. And if you look at his clothes, he has like splotches of the enzyme that he's throwing up on.
Yeah,
like,
where did those clothes come from?
Yeah, he's also dressed like a lumberjack.
Yeah, because I guess he could have just gone out and bought them because he ruined his other clothes, but he made a point that like he wears the exact same thing every day, right? The same suit. But then all of a sudden he's like wearing different clothes and stuff. But also what you were talking about, like she hugs him, he's disgusting. Before he made it to that, he gets angry that Gina Davis's character doesn't want to transport. So he leaves and goes, picks up some woman at a bar. His face at that point is clearly struggling. Like it looks like he has like the worst acne ever. And this woman is like immediately just like no problem attracted to him. And then he breaks her boyfriend's arm and immediately grabs her and just takes her out of there. And she's like, okay. And then they go and then he just takes her back and they have sex. Like, what is this? Like,
Well, she tells him when they're leaving, can we go to some more bars? And he's like, oh yeah, we can go to more bars. But then she said she wasn't a prostitute, but I'm like, you're kind of acting like one. But
the women characters are very problematic in this movie.
yeah, and that's actually a plot hole for me. I'm glad you brought her up because I was going to next is the character of Tawny, which is that girl. I'm assuming they have sex for hours because that was what he was doing with Gina Davis. So how was she not pregnant? They never explain if she was on the pill. I'm assuming he didn't use a condom.
Right. Well, we don't ever see her again, really, once she leaves. Maybe she is pregnant.
Well, because in the sequel, I've seen it's not worth to watch. The sequel,
Eric Stoltz, babies, Daphne Zuniga, like great cast.
just a bad film. They actually have Gina Davis having the baby, which made no sense to me because in this film she wants the abortion very badly. But
she doesn't get a chance to do it before the end of the movie. So you could sort of just say like maybe she didn't get the abortion.
Yeah, unless the baby comes back out that quick.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, but the other thing is what you're saying right now, you could fix that plot hole in The Fly 2, just being that it's Tawny's baby.
Yes.
I mean, there, you fix it. And Gina Davis didn't even come back for that role. All she needed to do was give birth, and then she was no longer going to be in the movie. And she was like, yeah, no. I'm not doing it.
She, from what I was reading, she wrote a script for the third one where she would come back and she would have twins. She was like a producer of it in 94, I think it was, and it never got off the floor. But again, it just throws a plot hole in why she want to have because she felt bad for Seth.
Yeah.
That didn't make it. That was a whole like kind of like, well, what's going on there? Also, the character of the boyfriend, like he gets his arm his hand disintegrated and his leg disintegrated, which he passed out from in pain, which I thought was pretty funny. But he somehow has the strength to stand up on one foot and shoot the machine with perfect accuracy.
Yeah. Well, does he stand up on his foot? Yeah, he might have.
Yeah, he's standing up when he shoots it, and then he falls back down.
Yeah, and he's able to shoot just so that the machine Gina Davis is in
doesn't work.
But the other two machines work because, and this is another plot hole. So, Seth Brundle becomes the Fly. He's becoming more and more like the Fly, and he decides, oh, well, what I need to do is get another human to go in there and fuse myself with another human because he has no morals. Like he talks about that, like insects don't have any morals. But the human he chooses is Gina Davis, who is pregnant, and he knows this. And his idea is like, we'll all be together. Well, that's not really true. That wouldn't work. Now, I can kind of give him a pass on this because he is like completely insane. But it was just funny how that was like the idea is that to be with Gina Davis and his baby, he would just fuse them all together genetically as one human.
He's like, you're going to make me more human than I've ever been human.
Yeah.
One thing I did, another plot hole in this film is when he has Tawny over and she's laying on the couch and he's showing her the teleporter and he comes out before they have sex.
Yeah.
If the teleporter was a purification, wouldn't it have corrected his DNA?
Yeah, that is weird because like he thought it was a purification, right? What he didn't realize is that the Fly DNA is making him stronger, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's getting so this is the other thing. We talked about Spider-Man earlier. I'm watching this movie and I'm like, oh, this is the dark version of Spider-Man, right? Spider-Man gets bit by a radioactive spider, gets the powers of a spider, and he's a good guy and all this stuff. Well, what if he got, we get the fly DNA goes in there, but he doesn't become a good guy. He becomes a bad guy. But he's like crawling around on the walls like a fly, all this stuff. He's doing all these feats of strength with this fly strength that he has. But yeah, he thinks it's a purification. He didn't realize that it's sort of that fly DNA that's given him all that ability. But I agree with you. If he went back through this a number of times, at some point it should have fixed the issue or at least made it less bad. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one thing plot hole that I noticed there. One thing I did like, being a computer nerd, is when he's finding out why the baboon, that I didn't like him killing the baboon, but when he's finding out about why the baboon died when they're doing the steak, he says that's what the problem is. It's not the computer. Computers only do what it's told, and that's the one thing I learned in programming is the computer is never wrong. It's always the coder that's wrong because you tell it what it's supposed to do. And he says that line when he goes to write the fake. Who he talks to it. He doesn't write code. He goes and talks to it with typing. But I did like that little aspect of it. And I did find it hilarious that when he's getting drunk because he thinks she's going back with her ex, he's talking to the baboon and the baboon's just sitting in a chair, just looking at him like,
yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, I had to kill your brother, but he did not die in vain." I was like, "What the fuck?"
Again, that I put that in as a plot hole. Like, what is he doing? Baboons are, first off, yeah, I guess it was a baboon. Like, they're not cheap. There's no reason to have a baboon. Where was he keeping the baboons? Like, these just show up at some point. He's got baboons. No, that's what rats are for. That's what, like, small animals like that.
Even in the original, he used a guinea pig.
Yeah. Well, but he started with the cat. Like, it was still just as insane because it was his son's pet. But yeah, the fact that he had these baboons and he just murdered the crap out of it was wild. Like, I didn't understand. I don't know. Maybe Cronenberg had something like that he was trying to say with the baboons, like it being baboons. I have no idea, but it didn't make any sense to the movie.
No, I think it was just more for the gore aspect of it. Going back to what was the movie trying to say in this, Cronenberg has come out and said that for this film, it was mostly about disease and the horrors that go along with deterioration of the disease, which was he was trying to present out there. He loved the original, but he said that he couldn't have Goldblum's character not talk because he felt being able to vocalize put so much more into the performance and his displaying the message he wanted to give out. I totally agree with that. I thought we talked about that earlier. But this film's also an allegory for HIV because of the lesions, okay. And this came out during the height of HIV in the 80s. Thank you, Ronald Reagan. And that Cronenberg was like, wow, I didn't expect it to be like that. It's not about HIV, but again, to each their own to interpret it how they want.
Well, but he says it's about disease and it's about this. And, you know, so maybe he still wasn't quite on board with what HIV was doing. But I totally get that idea that it's because the movie really does hinge upon Jeff Goldblum going through his character arc of being the scientist and then having to deal with his body sort of revolting against him and trying to science it to fix everything, and then losing his mind and doing all that. So I totally, yeah, I totally get that interpretation of it and what he was trying to say. It's better than anti-science, right? Like, I didn't get the sense of that in this movie at all, that he shouldn't be doing this, that he shouldn't, you know, it's that he did it and he made a mistake and then he's trying to fix his mistake and losing sight of his humanity.
Yeah. One thing I did, going back to something that kind of bothered me was when he breaks into the hospital to take her away. Also, that guy that's the doctor is the same guy who tries to sell who sells the Christmas tree to Ralphie and his dad in A Christmas Story.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I noticed it right away. I'm like, oh man, it's the guy from the Christmas tree.
That was
The
a better
Christmas Story.
role.
Yeah. But did he fly? Or did he just like run on the rooftops? Like, I don't understand how he got there. Like, it never says.
He didn't have wings.
Yeah, but I'm saying, how did he get? Because they're on the roof. How did he get up there with her so fast, so quickly?
Well, I mean, he can climb on walls.
Okay.
Like, we didn't know that. I think maybe he jumped.
Oh, okay. So he has super jumps.
Yeah, like super jumps or whatever. Like I said, he's like Spider-Man, you know? I hated that whole storyline about her being pregnant. Now, I didn't hate that she was pregnant. I hated how they handled it. Because she goes to her toxic ex-boyfriend to help. He's immediately giving her this like morality play, like, well, I think you need to let Seth know about it. Like, he's not listening to her at all. He's just totally ignoring her and what she's saying about all this stuff. And then he ultimately is going to help her, but they can't wait until morning. It's like 1 a.m. and they're going to perform an abortion. Like that. Like, that whole bit of it failed in every aspect. Like, I just didn't get it at all. I mean, the idea that she was pregnant and wanted to have an abortion makes sense. And Brundlefly wanted to stop that in order to get the, maybe get the baby to help him. Like, I would have totally accepted all of that, but just how they did it was a mess.
Brundlefly, how he eats.
This was also a body horror going along with the disease stuff. When he's pulling out his fingernails and his teeth are falling out and his ear falls off and he's vomiting his food and doing all this stuff. And then when he really becomes the Fly and is like, she rips his jaw off at the end. Disgusting. And it's so funny because that was not the point of the movie to me ever. I remember the vomiting on the hand and the leg. Like, I always remembered that, but I didn't think about the other stuff. And so when I was watching it, knowing that nobody wanted to watch it because it was too gross, I realized, like, oh my God, this is really gross. It just never, I don't know. It never affected me as much, I guess, before.
Yeah. But it won an Oscar for the scene. It's pretty disgusting. But it's also pretty cool. It's gory. Like I said earlier, I don't like gore, but this is a transformation. Is like the part where his at the end when his eyes pop out.
Yeah.
They use condoms for that part, which I thought was pretty crazy. But it's also has a lot of humor in it when his teeth fall out and he's putting it in the cabinet with his other, his nose and everything else.
Oh my God.
He's
what
like, oh,
were those?
he's like, your relics. One of them was a finger, I guess. But he's like, your relics. You're all relics. So it made me laugh. I was like,
I watched that scene like 3 or 4 times trying to just figure out what was in his bottles. Like, I could not, I don't know what parts of his body it was. It was pretty bad. But I have to say, like, it was super gory. But and this is why I think I don't remember it as that, because I think that's like super integral to the movie, to what Cronenberg's trying to do, right? Because sometimes you get gore. I think the hand, the broken arm in the arm wrestling scene, melting the hand, those are sort of like superfluous. You didn't need those. But all the stuff where he's becoming the Fly and his body's falling apart, that was 100% needed. I think that's why there's one reason the movie is so good is it all of that really drew you in and made you think about it. Even though it was disgusting, it wasn't disgusting for disgusting's sake.
Yeah.
So,
It was,
yeah.
I get, but yeah, there was a purpose to everything, like you're saying.
Yeah. So it was good. I really enjoyed the 86 movie again. I've seen it a number of times. I used to watch it, I don't know, quite a bit when I was younger. And then, like I said, I saw it maybe 4 years ago and just now saw it. But I don't know. Do you have anything more to talk about these plot point punch out things?
No, I think that we pretty much covered it the best we could.
Yeah.
So
yeah, let's jump into Act 3 here.
Yeah, let's go into that to finish us out.
Chow dear, chow dear, it's chowder. Say it right.
Chowder.
All right. And then I didn't move the thing, of course. So the judges' scorecards, is it a remake? Which could be good or bad, but it's just redoing what we saw before. A reboot, something that improves and spawns something new. Rename, it's just not the same story at all. Or rethink your life choices. You shouldn't have made this movie. What do you think about The Fly 58 versus The Fly 86, Yumper?
I think it's a remake, I would say. Very good one at that. It still has its flaws, but I think it was a very good turn of events that came out with it. I actually enjoyed both films a lot, to be honest with you. I thought they both had their flaws, but they were good to me in different ways.
Yeah. So now they both had sequels, right?
Mhm.
And apparently they were not very good because nobody really knows about them or whatever. But so you're just saying, but as a remake, like basically doing the same thing, just with a new era's technology and all that stuff.
Yeah. I think from that aspect of it, it was good. But the sequel stuff, to be honest with you, the 1958 sequel to 1958 to me is better because it's actually they both involve their son, but it has more of a happy ending, I guess, because the son gets turned into a fly and then he gets turned back into a human, so he completes the work his dad never did.
Okay.
While in the 19 whatever movie with Eric Stoltz, the 89 movie, that movie was just horrible.
Yeah. I'll have to. I'm interested in watching Return of the Fly to see how they move that story forward. Just pure like curiosity. I don't know. The Fly 2, like you said, wasn't very good, but I am going to give this a reboot. I think the 1986 Fly remake should have moved on for more. Like, I love this movie. Like, I was surprised how much I like it. And I know I just talked about a lot of the plot holes and stuff, but Cronenberg did a great job of just moving things forward so that you didn't have to think about the plot, too many of those plot holes, and the plot holes were somewhat insignificant. Like, it didn't really make a huge difference. But just everything that was going on in this movie, I was in the whole time. The only thing I really would have cut from this movie is the ex-boyfriend stuff. Like, I don't think that needed to be, and I would have made Gina Davis ultimately the strong hero character that stops the Fly. But then I would have rebooted the series and started, like you said, with Tawny having a child and Gina Davis's character as a reporter finding out about it and have to go do something. Like, that would be a good movie. And I think the 86 Cronenberg film deserved that. I don't know that the 58 movie deserved a sequel because of how it ended, because they just killed that dude at the end. Like The Fly kind of shut it all down, and there was no like, there was nothing like the wife wasn't going to have another baby. Like they didn't have sex at all in that movie. It's amazing that they even had the one child. So like, I don't know. I thought the 86 movie was well done. It deserved a better sequel. Cronenberg was not a part of that second movie, and that was probably the mistake that they made.
Yeah. And the writing sucked.
Yeah. So which movie do you like best? I mean, clearly, now I like the remake. I'm on board 100%.
To be honest with you, I like both of them. For different reasons. Are they both equal? No, I would say the 86 version is an upgraded version of it. I like both of them actually. Like they both have their flaws. So it's a wash for me because like if I want to go more gory, I can go with the more newer one. And if I want to go more story building in terms of like a flashback story building, I could go with the other one and with iconic scenes. So I like both of them actually. So it's kind of a wash for me. I could pick either or. You throw on either or of them and I would watch it. Of course, not with my kid around, but yeah. I would watch it.
Let me see if I can talk you into the 86 movie by talking about the 58 for 1 second. One of the main things that turned me off, flashback. I hate flashbacks. I hate them. And in this movie, we start with the Fly already dead. The man who's a Fly has already been smashed in the press. He is done. This is not really a movie about that. It's like a mystery. Who done it? Like, why did the wife kill the husband? That's the sort of where they went with this movie. We get to see what the scientist is doing and how he ended up in that situation, but we already know what's going to happen. There's no sense of suspense. We know the Fly is going to die and everybody else is going to be safe from the Fly because she killed it. That's not a concern. That kills the movie for me. Like the movie is very well done. It was very interesting. And the very end, when they brought the Fly saying, "Help me," was genius. It really was. But the fact that there was no suspense built up in this movie about what is going to go on with this Fly guy, the Fly guy, like, I didn't care. In the 86 movie, they don't make that mistake. They move straight forward. You don't know ultimately what is going to happen. I mean, obviously, we're all smart people and we know that, yeah, he's probably, the Fly is probably not going to win, but it's all moving the action forward and we do not know how it's going to end. And like you said, it could have ended with showing Tawny pregnant, or it could have ended with the Gina Davis and I can't believe it, and Jeff Goldblum fusing together, right? And then dying or something, right? Like there were a lot of things you didn't know what was going to happen. That 58 movie, you knew. It ends with a smashed Fly in the press. The only real question you have is, why did she do it twice? And then when you find out she did it twice, so that because the first time got his head and the second time she had to get his arm in there, that was it. Like who cares? I don't know. So does that sway you at all?
To be honest with you, it doesn't, because and no, I was actually thinking to your argument, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, it tells us that he's dead, but I like the way it goes back and tells us why, because you're like, okay, well, why did you kill him? Now, The one thing I will say about the original is, even though he was pressed, that doesn't mean that you're not going to see he was a fucking fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they tried to play that off as in, oh, if you set it to 0, it'll smash it to nothing.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's still going to be matter there. While
people in the 50s didn't know those things.
Yeah. While in at least the newer one, they kind of, she blew his brains out. So, but he was already a mutant. One thing I don't like is how they both ended. The newer one ends with her blowing his brains out and then it, shooting him. And then it goes into like the credits
immediately.
Yeah. And in the original, it goes to them going to the zoo where everything's kind of wrapped up in a nice little bow. The mom's there and she's all happy. And the son's like, I know my dad is dead. And I'm like, what? It's kind of like that Walker Texas Ranger bit that they did with I have AIDS. That's what it kind of was to me. But that's the one thing I didn't like about both movies, was just how the endings happened.
Agreed. I didn't like in the original that it ended with, like, it kind of seemed like Vincent Price was about to marry his sister-in-law. But to be fair, that kind of weird stuff did happen all the time back then. But that's what it felt like. And in the newer one, I don't know. The thing I didn't like was just the boyfriend coming back and being a hero type. I don't like that. Like, he was the bad guy. He was the worst version of an ex-boyfriend. He wasn't good in any way. And then they sort of bring him back. They, make his character like kind of a good guy at the end. And I hated that. Like, he honestly, if you're going to bring him in, make him still terrible. And we're all excited that Brundlefly kills him. And Veronica, Gina Davis's character, is just like, you're an idiot for showing up. I didn't want you here. And now you're dead because you're a dummy. I had it all handled. I would have much preferred that being the ending than trying to make this horrible dude kind of a good guy.
That is totally too. Like I said, they both have their flaws, but I enjoyed them both. That's why I can't really pick between the two. It's not like I'm doing Godfather and Godfather 3 here. We're doing The Fly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. I hate flashbacks. I really do. But that doesn't mean that every flashback is done the same. For a flashback movie, this was done well, I thought.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like that concept because, like I said, I already knew how it was going to end. There was it took away that suspense, which I'd prefer not to.
Yeah, that's for one of the reasons. Like, I'm not a huge my thing with flashbacks is like, if you ever watch Suits, I like Suits. They do some flashbacks in there when he's talking about his dad's death and whatnot, which I thought was cool. But then when you can kind of tell a show's kind of running on empty is when they do a flashback at like season 6. And they try and make the guy look even younger than what he is, and it didn't work for me.
For me, a flashback only works as short bursts to give you some information about what's happening at the moment. When you do the entire movie as a flashback, that's where it kind of falls apart for me. Or you do an entire episode of a TV show. That's so, like, I just don't need that. I want to keep going with the story I'm watching. This one did a pretty good job of having that story in that flashback. I just wish I wouldn't have known that he was going to be dead at the end, no matter what.
Yeah, I can see that. But like I said, I still got it's a watch for me. I can't be convinced in this one. I'm sorry, my friend.
That's all right. It's a good movie. I think they're both good movies. Oh yes, I forgot. I was going to add this in here. When we were doing the character clash, okay, Yumper, who wore it best? They have the same haircut. Gina Davis or Jeff Goldblum. These are two horrific Well, no, this is one horrific 80s haircut. A man is wearing it on one side and a woman's wearing it on the other side. Who wins?
I gotta go with Goldblum, man. You know, Goldblum kind of has the buggy eyes too.
Yeah.
Which I love Jeff Goldblum. Don't get me wrong. It just makes me laugh. Like he was just the perfect cast member for this film. The perfect cast. So the casting director should have gotten an Oscar just for that.
Yeah. No, I love Jeff Goldblum in most anything he does. And I agree with you. I think that haircut looks better on him. And on Gina Davis, it just didn't. Wow, it just wasn't a good look.
Yeah.
I just thought it was hilarious when I'm watching it. I'm like, they have the same haircut, basically.
But that's the 80s, man. I mean, also I hate in this picture his suit. It's like felt or whatever it is. I don't know. That's like an 80s thing.
And he had 5 of them.
Yeah, he was trying to do the Einstein
Yeah.
look, so we don't have to worry about it. But obviously he cared about, going out with shirtless with just a leather coat later in the film. And a pimply face.
Rough. All right. Well, I think that's it. I think we got through it. I don't know how I'm going to score the wash with you. I guess I'll give you a half on each. What is this?
This is the original Predator, man.
Oh my God.
If you watch our Predator breakdown, this is actually Jean-Claude Van Damme as the Predator.
Oh my God. That's amazing. He's got like a squid face.
Yeah, he was supposed to be like that, and he quit after that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's so funny. You just put that up there.
He's speechless, folks.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can give me a half on each. But we went over the 2-hour mark, Cotton, which is something that we joke about. The at the show has been kind of trying to limit on going over 2 hours because me and Tony sometimes feel like we just ramble. So we don't want to make everybody listen. Even though we sometimes trick people on bikes or escalators like you or ellipticals that almost die because we keep talking. But the 2-hour thing is kind of fun to go through.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know. Look, listeners out there, if you think we're rambling too much, let us know. We'll try to limit it a little bit, but these are just like our generic, normal conversation.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to say about these movies. I think they're fun to go through them like this.
Yeah. It's not necessarily a bad thing. Just, I think that the more off the cuff stuff we talk about and the more, we write notes. I write notes for myself and Cotton writes notes for himself. We don't share them with each other. And that's what we're doing on the At the Show now. We're not sharing our notes just to get more of a genuine conversation feel. So I like that aspect of our shows a lot.
Yeah, it's a good time. Every few weeks we get together early morning, hang out, talk movies. Yeah, it's a good time. I hope people enjoy listening to it.
Yeah, and again, like Cotton said, if you have any suggestions you want to change, the format, let us know. We're open to suggestions.
Or movies that you want to hear us talk about.
Yeah, anything like that, let us know.
Or if you have thoughts about these movies, you think we're insane for the things that we dislike or do like, let us know.
Oh man, the TikToks, they always go after me for my takes sometimes on the TikToks when I post them of us. I'm like, what? I'm just making a point, and they're like, yeah, this guy knows nothing about movies. And I'm like, oh man, that's okay.
Wow.
But it's all good. I mean, you're in. If you can't take criticism, you shouldn't be doing stuff like this. But
yeah,
it just makes me laugh. Do you want to plug your stuff, Cotton?
Oh yeah. I just had a new baseball rabbit hole drop coming out of the Bleacher Bunch podcast feed. You got to go look for it on your actual podcast feed. I do not do any video of that because I just like the audio format. I'm talking this season about war, and that is the stat of war, who's the best, who I think's the best, issues with that stat, all that stuff, and just telling you stories about different baseball players. The one I just dropped was pitchers. It's about an hour long because I did like the entire rotation. I regretted doing that with all the work I had to do to come up with 10 different players. But it's a good time. I just go through talking about how the players are ranked. I'm going to do that for each of the 9 positions. And then, of course, Sunranto, we talk Cubs. And if you're on that Bleacher Bunch, I do a recap, or me, Danny, and Mike Waller all do. We split it up. We do recaps each day. So if you're a Cubs fan and you don't have time to watch these games, you can spend about 20 minutes with us in the morning and hear about the game.
Yeah, and like I'll reiterate that if you're a fan of the 108 Sox side of stuff that is Sox talk, but also like wackiness, or the Chicago sports bums, that's mostly Sox talk and Bears talk and wackiness, that's basically the Son of Ranto show on the north side. They do talk Cubs, but they also go off on tangents about everything. So
and if you don't like the Cubs, you'll probably find a place within us, because there's a lot about the Cubs we don't like as well.
Yeah, and even though I am a Sox fan, I have been a loyal ranter for, I don't know, like a long time.
Yeah.
So I was actually listening to the show when Lyle was on the first time.
Yeah, that's been many years.
So check them out. It's entertaining. Not just because I do a show with Cotton, but he's always been entertaining to me, especially when he gets really mad, and he really loves stats. So make sure you tell him about stats.
Oh, I do. I do love stats.
On my end, we just dropped a new At the Show podcast yesterday, which is the 11th, Friday, which was the 10th. We did our favorite X-File episodes. Me and Tony, who always seem to bring in the X-Files into everything we talk about, decided to do an X-Files episode where we talked about our top 5 and threw in some extras in there. We also talked about stuff that was going on in terms of rumors and movies. I even talked about Tim Pool, the right-wing podcaster, not about politics, but more about his take on a film that was very stupid. So check that out. Check out Sadistic Penguin Studios. We have a draft. If you're into drafts of all sort of wackiness, the Drafty Pod returns on Tuesday. They're going to be doing their first album cuts, which is going to be Tony, Mailman Jack, a At the Show favorite, and Brian. They'll be doing that on Tuesday live on our channel. And check out Penguin Imprints, man. I have custom shirts for both North Side and South Side, as well as a political collection for Left is Best. I'm sorry if you're not left, but that's what I am. Also, I have an Indigenous Designs and Canvas Art, proud sponsor of both the Son Ranto Show and the Baloney Show. So every little bit helps. I am a one-person business, so everything is coming out of me. And soon I'll be dropping, I did release some tumblers, but soon I'll be dropping my own made tumblers, where they'll actually be shipping from my house as I have the machine en route. So
nice.
I'll be making those soon to be putting out wrap tumblers. So just go check them out at penguinimprints.com. If you use the code BleacherBunch, that's Bleacher Bunch, you get 20% off your order.
Very cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to some of these little Cubes fans you got on there, man. It's a cool version of it.
Yeah. So check us out. Cotton, always a pleasure doing this show with you, my man. I love the fact that you run the show, because I just basically get to do whatever I want.
Yeah, you just get to show up and talk, man. Sometimes that's the best way to do it. And watch great movies, of course.
Yes, sir. But we'll be back in about a month or so to do another episode. Besides that, let us know how you guys like everything, and we'll get back to you soon.
Great.
Take it easy,
Take
guys.
it easy. Yeah.